I was going to make this video on why I like certain esports teams, more specifically SKT1 or SKT1 Telecom or whatever the name is. I just say SKT or SKT1. I was going to make this video about my selection with that team as my League of Legends esport team. This isn't going to be about that. I just saw them lost almost 20 or 30 minutes ago. I just saw them lost almost 20 or 30 minutes ago to Flash Wolves. And before I sat down for this video, I was kind of reflecting, well, how did they lose that game? And I'm not a League of Legends analyst. I'm only a Silver 2 player. But I think that my understanding is a little bit ahead of where, or is higher probably than it should be for someone of my ELO. And I kind of got what they were trying to do, especially being a Korean team. If you aren't aware of the region-based teams, and even the regions as a whole, like NA and EU more specifically, are terrible with playing as a team, because they're always trying to make very flashy plays. They're always trying to get ahead. This isn't pro team. This isn't like LCS or the EU LCS. This is just like region based, and some of these teams reflect these concepts that in NA and EU, and not NA and EU, in North America and in Europe, teams, especially in lower ELOs, they try and make very flashy plays if they're behind, and even when they're ahead, they try and just extend their lead further and further and further instead of using the lead that they have and trying to make something of it, trying to get objectives with it instead of just getting kill after kill after kill with it. In Korea, it's a lot less. It's pretty much like, all right, if we have a lead, we're just going to not extend that lead, but use that lead to our advantage. Maybe we're going to push. I don't even know how they do this, because they're just so good at it, more specifically SKT. But I'm going to push the side lanes, or I'm going to go for like a 1-0-4 split bot, and have those 4 people push bot and try and take towers that way. Or I'm going to go for a 1-3-1 split and try and push out the outer lanes and have the top laner bot, and hopefully he pushes out. And SKT is phenomenal at simultaneously split pushing every single lane. They clear out the jungle so that way they can reset the camps once they back, and they get the gold and the experience from the camps. They clear the jungle, then they push out the side and the mid lanes, or the mid and the side lanes. And then that's when they kind of make this, and that's when they have their decision making. They can either get dragon, they can get towers, they can get kills, they can get Baron. And that's this plan that most Korean teams stick to. They're good as a team, right? What I saw from SKT today was kind of that formula. I don't know what I saw. It was disappointing. Like, the weirdest thing of all is that SKT seemed to be in full control of the game. Like, the goal deficit wasn't that large up until the last couple of minutes of the game, and they just looked like, okay, just one thing. If one thing goes their way, if they get one tower, if they get one team fight, which they really didn't, then they'll be able to secure that small little lead that they have and push the advantage to get Baron, to get a tower, or to get 2 towers and the inhibitor, or to open up the base, or to just something on the map. And they didn't really get that opportunity. And it all kind of started with Faker kind of being ganked a lot in the mid lane, and this isn't, and again, I don't know. I guess it all started with Faker, and I'm sorry for losing my composure. It's a little bit weird for me to see SKT be so in control of the game and kind of lose. Man, it's my brain is like, what just happened? What did I just watch? But it all kind of started with with Faker kind of just getting ganked over and over and over and over and over again, and who's the jungler? It's Blank. Blank kind of just taking camps over and over and over again, and that's not necessarily wrong. It's just that Olaf as a jungler isn't as mobile as Lee Sin, so he can't necessarily go from a camp to a lane, even though he tried to do that. But he tried to roam to, I forgot who the top laner is. He's a new player for SKT1. But he even tried to rotate top a couple of times. Once he kind of just roamed to mid. I noticed Faker died again. Tried to help mid. Roamed to top, or cleared the race, roamed to top. And Rumble was pushed in because he's Rumble. He backed off again. There wasn't really any good movements, I would say, from him so far. But one of the weirdest things of all is that SKT, and I watched their game, I forgot who it was, but it was Saturday. I watched their game, and I was going to make that video, or I was going to make this video yesterday, kind of just to see what it, because that was the game that I'd watched fully, and their movements weren't wasted. Like I was saying at the beginning of this video, they are experts at simultaneously pushing waves, and they're experts at not having movements wasted. And it seemed like those movements that they usually would do weren't necessarily wasted, but they were countered. Whenever Wolf would go in and place a ward, especially towards the end of the game, he was denied. Not necessarily because they had scanner sweeps, not because they had scanner sweeps, and wards, but because he died a lot. In fact, the entirety of the team, I think, had like 2 kills and 9 deaths. And even then, they still seemed in control. It was just that they weren't really taking, I think, the fights that they needed to take, because they had some pretty decent team fights. Like, it seemed that they were going to win it, but unfortunately, they were usually 4v5s. They were outnumbered. And it's disappointing to see this, and it's kind of weird to talk about, because they seemed like they were, I kid you not, if you watched Flash Wolves versus SKT, they seemed like they were in control for the majority of the game, and then they came up short. I'm very confused. I don't know. This has been 24. Utterly confused at what I just saw. Tomorrow's video, I have no idea what it will be about. It will probably be about Persona 5 and what I think about Persona 5. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm utterly confused. Have a fantastic night. It's 11:53. I still got the video up on Sunday. Have a fantastic day or night. I'll see you next time.